When the eyes deceive you, when the actions seem harmless, there's still one thing remains uncorrupted: the truth behind the energy of the person that carries. In a world full of masks and performances, understand this deeply. Energy never lies. You must learn to feel before you listen, before you analyze somebody's behavior. Learn to observe how their presence shift your inner space. There's individuals whose words are kind, smiles are warm, gestures are socially acceptable, and yet something feel off. Something in your gut whispers caution. This is the first and the most ancient alarm system of the wisdom of your inner self. You see, energy have no costume. It cannot pretend for too long. It doesn't wear perfume. It doesn't know how to lie. It simply radiates. When someone carries darkness within them, even when they try to present light, there will be a disturbance, a restlessness that you're feeling your chest, in your breath, in your emotional rhythm. Some people carry an energy that dries the soul. You were laughing before they came to you into your room, and now you're doubting yourself. You have clarity before you spoke to them, but now you are confused. You are healing, growing, breathing freely, and then they arrived, and suddenly the progress felt imbalanced, the confidence questions, the light dimmed. There's no coincidence, there's no imagination. This is the residue of their spiritual weight rubbing off to you. Words can be rehearsed, action can be manipulated, smiles be counterfeit, but energy is the essence of a being, and it echoes the truth of their spiritual alignment. A person can tell you, I love you, but secretly envying your light. A person can show up for you in public while cursing you in their private heart. Energy does not need translation, it's the soul's language. And your spirit, when cluttered by noise, always understand it. The mind will argue, the emotion will get attached, the ego will want to prove loyalty, but silence will reveal what logic cannot. Sit with someone in silence and observe how the spirit react in their presence. Does their presence make your thought come more alive or more drained after being with them? Do they leave you with clarity or confusion? These are not shallow indicators, they are sickness. Yes, yes, yes. The demons we encounter, we don't enter with fire and smoke. They arrive with compliment. They make promises. They wear the face of a familiar. And this, the energy, reach a trail for inner destruction. You don't imagine it when you feel, you're not imagining when you feel tension. You're not being sensitive when you notice your peace disappearing. You're simply perceiving what most choose to ignore. Yes, sickness to the soul. When I say sickness, yes. Silently, they smile when you speak of your dreams, but inside they hope you fail. They offer help, but their help carries hooks. Listen, chosen one. Put it in your mind. Put it in your mind. The person who always rush to want to help you is the one who is planning for hooks. They don't celebrate your life, they compete with it. And their help comes from attachment. Yes, not all help are good help. It looks like a help. It's not. You can only detect them when you stop listening to their words and you start feeling their essence. Awareness is not paranoia. Sensitivity is not weakness. That's why it's important to take a period of isolation in order for you to know your energy from what's not your energy, you know, and to listen to the spiritual intuition. It's not superstition. It's survival. You're not being called to judge others, but to discern what you allow into your sacred space. You own no one access to the soul's peace. You own no explanation for trusting your own inner knowing. You don't have to explain to anybody when you are trusting your inner knowing. You're raw in this energy. The soul can never be wrong. When you make space for silence, you will see clearly. When you stop rushing to fix, please explain, you will begin to recognize the invisible threats that either nourish or choke your spirit. And when you walk into a room and feel the atmosphere shift, do not dismiss it. There is no greater teacher than energy. It's the voice behind the words, the shadow behind the smile, the truth behind the mask. It speaks always. Whether we are brave enough to listen is a real question. There is a form of darkness that does not strike loudly, does not come in storms. It comes quietly. It seeps into conversation. It hides behind jokes. It wraps itself in concern, and yet, you know, مشغول بالي عليك, you know, you know. لا قفلوا على السريع. This is the darkness of consistent manipulation. It becomes subtly. A friend or family member question your memory. When you know exactly what was spoken or what happened, or you being too sensitive when you express that something hurt, you always overreact. They repeat whenever you try to address a boundary, and over time, something begins to shift. Not in them, but in you. You begin to question yourself. You replace situation in your mind not once, over and over again. You know, even, you know, like your own sense of truth isn't complete. This is not coincidence. This is not accident. It is a slow erosion of your inner compass as someone who thrives on control, not connection. And manipulator does not need power. They don't raise their voice. They lower your confidence. They don't change your body. They weaken your belief in your own perception. Manipulation is a spiritual poison. It does not aim to destroy you in one moment. It aims to reshape how you see yourself so that you become easier to control, easier to dominate, easier to silence. If you observe closely, you will notice a pattern. They twist every disagreement, so they become the victim. They turn every conversation back to your flaws. They plant doubt in a form of concern. I just worried about the choices you're making. They lower truth with lies, and so skillful. And even sometimes the strongest mind will start question. It's a psychological game, spiritual drain. Manipulation is not about winning a discussion. It's about feeding the ego by shrinking the other person's light. When someone repeatedly diminishes your intuition, when they consistently make you feel guilty for having intuition or sabotage to your growth while pretending to support it, this is not love, my friend. This is spiritual warfare in disguise. And the most dangerous manipulators are not loud. They are calculated. They may never insult you openly, but they will constantly suggest that you are less capable, less balanced, less intelligent, less worthy of clarity, less worthy of truth. So your dependence on them grows and your trust in yourself fades. So if you stop trusting your own decision, you will rely on theirs. That's how they gain power. Watch for repetition. Manipulation is not a one-time slip. It is a pattern. Do they always deflect responsibility? Do they turn their apologies into weapons? I said, I was sorry. What more do you want from me? They apologize only when it benefits them. They use your vulnerability against you later. Do they create confusion around rather than resolution? Does they have a problem for every solution? A true companion listen to understand, and manipulators listen to find leverage. A true friend holds space for your emotion, and manipulator uses your emotion to guilt or control you. A loving presence empowers you to think clearly, act freely, and feel safe in your own truth. Manipulators' presence forces you to shrink yourself to preserve the peace. And this is not how it works, my little friends. And remember, God rewards who trusts his intuition.